All right, welcome. First video in the new place. I'm excited. Let's get to it. How's it going, everyone? You like the new setup? Honestly, I think it is sexy. Today's recipe is a corn risotto, and this is something that my girlfriend and I came up with during quarantine. This has become our go-to. It's dependable, it's delicious, and you just need this in your life. Let me talk about risotto a little bit. It's very unique because of the way it's cooked. When you cook normal rice, add all the liquid at once, you call it a day.
If you're super smart, you put in rice cooker, okay?
Risotto is a very kneady rice. You add the liquid in batches, and you basically watch it cook. But because we do this, it just creates this creamy and just amazing texture that you don't really get with normal rice. That is risotto in a nutshell. It is a very involved cooking process, but I think it's well worth it. This is a great dish to learn a lot of cooking cues because it really teaches you to go off a feel instead of following an exact recipe. It's not that it's difficult, you just need to know what to look out for, and you need to be willing to basically stir for 20 minutes. It's a very guilt-free comfort food, and that is super rare to find. Basically, the main components of risotto, obviously you need rice, and the rice I'm using is Arborio rice, which is an Italian short grain rice. It is very starchy, which is necessary to make risotto. It's super easy to find at most grocery stores these days. To cook the rice in, we're going to use broth, and it can be pretty much any broth. You can even use water in a pinch. Obviously, it's not going to taste as good, but broth is ideal. I'm using our homemade veggie broth. You need anywhere from 4 to 6 cups. Actually, let's dial back. Let's rewind. Go back to the rice. This is a cup and a half. So for a cup and a half of rice, I usually stick to 4 to 6 cups of vegetable broth. And you'll probably wonder, like, wow, that's a big range. And it's because every time you cook risotto, it will never always be the same, depending on how hot your stovetop is, or how hot your Dutch oven is, or how fast the rice cooks. There's so many variables, so you really go off a feel. You may not end up using all of it. We're gonna have this in another pot, just maintaining a hot temperature so that when we cook with it, it doesn't cool down the rice, because we want to have the rice constantly cooking. So that will just be chilling, not chilling, the opposite of chilling. It'll be simmering in another pot while we cook our rice. And then we have other main ingredient, which is roasted corn. And this is actually frozen roasted corn from Trader Joe's. And I know frozen vegetables get a bad rep, but my God, Trader Joe's has figured out their freezer stuff. I have not had one bad thing from the Trader Joe's frozen aisle. Roasted corn is amazing. I have a cup here. You can go all the way up to a cup and a half, so a 1-to-1 ratio with your rice if you really want to. I'm only gonna use a cup today. The basis of flavor for all risottos also includes an onion. We'll just dice this up and begin our risotto with this. And then half a cup white wine. I think it's a sauvignon blanc. Sauvignon blanc, to be specific. But any dry white wine will do. Then I got 4 cloves of garlic. We're just gonna crush it straight into the pan. If you don't have a crusher, just mince it. Not a big deal. By the way, guys, garlic is a super fluid ingredient for me, so my recipe calls for 4 cloves, but I'm actually using 5 today. Sometimes you get these little shitters, and you're like, what the hell? That doesn't count. But then you get some of these honkers, and then you're like, well, life is good. I mean, life is good anyways, but big cloves of garlic make life better. So yeah, use as much or as little as you want. We're using calabrian chiles. We'll use a teaspoon of that, but definitely sub in red pepper flake if you want to. And then parsley as a garnish. You can use fresh parsley if you want, if you're super bougie, but me personally, I have a very tough time using a whole bunch of fresh parsley, so that's why I just use dried. Not a big deal. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You'll notice that I'm not using Parmigiano Reggiano, which is pretty standard for a lot of risottos, but we're able to create such a creamy texture without it, and that's thanks to the starch in the rice. Obviously, it's gonna taste better with it, and it's gonna provide a lot of flavor, but I'm just not going for that type of vibe today. If you do use Parmigiano Reggiano, I recommend anywhere from a 4 to half a cup towards the end of cooking. That's it for the ingredients. Then next we have our Dutch oven. So ideally you want to be using a Dutch oven for risotto because it's heavy, which means it won't move a lot when we're stirring, because we will stir quite a bit, and it also retains heat very well. Our stirring utensil will be a wooden spoon. Don't use a rubber spatula. You need something hard because you're gonna be stirring so effing much. Wooden spoon is just very traditional for risotto. Just do it, man. I can't explain it. Risotto is truly greater than the sum of its parts, and it's gonna be beautiful. So let's get started. So the only ingredient that we need to prep is our onion. Dice this. I did a rough dice. That will be just fine. Let's move over to the stove. In a pot, put all your veggie broth in. We don't want this boiling because we don't want to evaporate any of the liquid. We just want to keep it warm. So I have it on medium heat. In your Dutch oven, set the heat to medium high. Go in with your butter and olive oil. Butter's for flavor, olive oil to make sure the butter doesn't burn. Go into your onions, add a pinch of salt. Because I'm not going to be using any cheese in this, I'm going to be adding salt quite often to season the dish properly. Saute them until they become soft and translucent. Crush your 4 cloves of garlic directly into the pot. Stir well until fragrant. And then you go in with your calabrian chiles. Give that a good stir until everything becomes well combined. This is where you go in with your rice. Stir really well here because uncooked rice can stick very easily. Toast it slightly. You'll smell a slight nuttiness and you'll see the rice change slightly in color, and then pour in your wine. Stir this constantly until half of the liquid has evaporated. From here, set your timer to 20 minutes. This is your guideline. This does not mean your risotto will be done in 20 minutes exactly. Turn down the heat to medium. Start off with 2 ladles of broth. Keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring. You can take breaks every once in a while, but I would not let this sit alone for more than 10 seconds, otherwise things are going to start to burn. So you're gonna keep on stirring until you can drag your wooden spoon across the bottom and the risotto just kind of sits there. There's no liquid filling in the gaps. When you get to that point, that's your cue to add more broth. So add another ladle. From now on, every time we add broth, we're only gonna do 1 ladle at a time and just keep on stirring until you drag the wooden spoon across the bottom like I'm doing like this. Nothing sexy for these next 20 minutes. This is just good old-fashioned hard work. You're just gonna be doing this for 20 minutes. If you end up running out of the broth, you can just use water. That actually works just fine. Just make sure if you use water, you end up seasoning quite well with salt. And here's how it looks like 15 minutes into cooking. So when you have about 2 minutes left on your timer, give your risotto a taste. It should be pretty close to being done, but not quite there yet. Add in 2 more ladles of broth. Go in with your corn, and we're gonna mix this very well. Again, since we are not using cheese in this case, I'm going to salt this pretty heavily. I ended up using about 3 pinches of salt total. I also added quite a bit of black pepper to finish this off. That's pretty much it. Plate up your risotto. I am grating some Parmigiano Reggiano and a pinch of parsley, and your risotto is all ready to go. I'm hungry. Here we go. Corn risotto. Let's just dig right in, huh? I ended up using parm as garnish to treat myself. It's been a process moving. Anyways, let's get right into it. Yeah. Whew. It's like it just came off the stovetop. Ooh, yeah, that's good. Why is rice so good? I mean, are you surprised that I like rice? Like, come on, look at me. I hate this term, but the mouthfeel is just so good. The rice is so creamy, and it's just like a big hug. And the corn just works so well with it. I'm a big texture person. Corn just provides a nice little pop every once in a while. Risotto always surprises me. I've made it so many times now, but like every time I'm like making it, I'm like, it's just rice, broth, and whatever. It surprises me every single time how deep the flavor is. This is hitting the spot. This is putting me to sleep. It's like that comforting. I don't know if you can tell by my eyes, they're getting smaller, but they're already window slits anyways. I eat risotto with a spoon. Some people eat it with a fork. What do you guys eat risotto with? I think a spoon makes sense. Rice equals spoon. It's that simple. No question. Shit, that's good. There we go, y'all. That's corn risotto. This dish has made me a better cook because it teaches me to look out for things as opposed to sticking to arbitrary times. I set a timer for 20 minutes as a guideline. Then I go off of my feels, of my feelings, my intuition. I think you should cook it that way too. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys like the new kitchen, the new setup. But to be honest, it's been a stressful week with moving, unpacking, and recent current events. This risotto is the perfect comfort food. I feel a lot better. And that's what's amazing about food, guys. Food can change your mood like that as soon as you put the spoon in your mouth. I think that's it. Let me know what you want next. Just literally just popped up in my mind. Wouldn't the kimchi risotto be pretty freaking sweet? Let me know if you want to see that, because I kind of want to make that now. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, please. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.